All right, before we get the show started, I have to give a huge shout out to a special group of individuals that I like to call my Patreon podcast producers. And you know what? They're all on Instagram, so make sure you give them a follow. Daryl at Your Level Fitness, Kaitlyn at Kaitlyn Elise, put 3 Y's in her name, Crystal at Reduced Fat Mama, Joey at Joey Losing Weight, Vanessa at Vanessa Ray's Journey, and Amanda at Mutts_and_miles. These guys are helping this show to move forward in a huge, huge way. And if you want to join this special group of individuals, make sure you stay tuned at the very end of the show for more details. Are you Team Apple? I got to shout out all of you checking out this show right now on an iPhone, iPad, etc. In fact, nearly 70% of you are listening to me on one of these devices. It would mean the world to me if you took a moment to leave a review. This is one of the best things that you can do for this podcast to help get the word out. And while you're at it, leave reviews for some of your other favorite shows. I bet they would really dig it. Do you prefer Jefferson or Jeff?
Jefferson's fine.
Okay, cool. I can honestly say that I don't know another Jefferson. You are the first Jefferson that I know.
Really?
Do you get that a lot or no?
I do. Yeah, I do.
That's cool, man. So you're in the Chicago area.
Yes, I'm in Chicago, man. My whole life.
Whole life, born and raised.
Yes, sir. City, not those suburbs that people like to claim they're from.
You know, the only other guy I know from Chicago, do you follow that big guy 700?
Yeah, that's how I actually found your podcast.
Oh, no kidding. Okay, cool. Yeah, he was on the podcast, and I think he's like the only other guy I know from Chicago. There, I have another buddy, Glenn. I think he just moved to Chicago in the last couple of months, but like that's it. And I've actually never been to Chicago.
No, never. Where are you from?
I'm from Virginia. Now, I normally tell people the DC area because that's kind of the thing you do when you're from the Northern Virginia area. You just say, oh, DC area because people know that better. Northern Virginia.
Gotcha. That's cool, man. Have I been? No, I've never been there.
Okay, yeah, I had a few brief stints in Southern California. My father was in the Navy. That was pretty cool. I remember growing up, I went back as a teenager. I'm like, man, there's a lot of girls out in California. It's crazy.
My friend lives in Santa Monica, and I just visited LA last year for the first time, man. And I actually had a couple job offers to go out there. I just never pulled the trigger yet, man. I mean, one day I'm sure I'll end up there. We'll see.
You said that was your first time going out there.
Yeah, it was my first time ever going to LA.
Wow. Yep. What did you think about it? Because I feel like a lot of people that go to LA, like for the first time, or even California in general, they just have like this, like, oh my God, that was so crazy.
That's a good question. So for me, I really loved it. For the simple fact, I'm kind of like I do a lot of video creating too, like a lot of Facebook, social media stuff.
Right.
You know, my platform really isn't Instagram. So like my main account, I probably have like 4,000 or 5,000 people following me on there.
Yeah.
But my other one, you know, what I'm doing now for my weight loss, I love that community better than I do the other one. You know, they're just more involved and supportive. But like my comedy stuff, like when I went to LA, everybody was doing what I do out here on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And I wasn't the weirdo for once, you know, because they see me out here, you know, I don't vlog or anything like that, but I'll get some kind of creative juices flowing and feel inspired. Like I'll be at a Walmart or Target. Yeah. I'll just pull out my phone and start making a video and people are looking at me like, what the hell is this guy doing? But in LA, if you're not doing that, you're the oddball, you know?
I need to do some more videos in LA then, because I just started, like, in the last probably 2 or 3 months, I started like regularly vlogging, and it's still weird as hell because I'm introverted by nature, and people, when I say that, they don't believe it because they've either heard the podcast or they've seen some of my videos and they're like, there's just no way. But that's the truth. Like, carrying around a camera scares the shit out of me. I mean, I do it and I enjoy it, but I'm still in that kind of like scared period where it just freaks me out.
Well, that's a good point, man. I think everybody's a little introverted, even like the people that are on TV and radio. I mean, you got to start. So you're never. I mean, some people are born like that, I guess.
Yeah.
But there's still that fear, a little bit. Just making a fool of yourself, or I get nervous, and I'm on TV, so
Yeah.
I still get nervous until I'm ready, and I'm a musician as well. So
No
when
shit.
I'm on stage, like I still go those butterflies until we count down, and I'm a drummer. So until we
nice.
hit that first note,
Yeah.
and that first chord comes in, I'm still nervous, man. So, it happens.
Oh, I played for probably like 7 years, and every show I was nervous, from the very first show where I was carrying around a 3-ring like notebook with all the lyrics to the last show ever. It was crazy.
Were you what did you play?
Well, I started out as a singer and I ended as a singer, but in a couple bands in between, I did guitar. I mean, guitar was kind of like my main thing, but it just so happened that the first band I was in and the last band I was in didn't need a guitar. They only needed a singer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that happens, man. I get that. I mean,
yeah,
you guys always have the easiest job, in my opinion, except you have to carry the band.
Well, the problem is I did it pretty terribly, so I feel like it was difficult. Yeah.
Especially me being a big guy my whole life, I'm like, dog, man, like help me with this drum set, man. Like, why did I? At one point, I had 2 kick drums. I'm like, all right, this is ridiculous. Now I play a little 3-piece. I'm like, okay, this is way better.
What kind of music are you doing?
Started out playing rock, like metal.
Yeah.
Hardcore, like R&B rock style. Like Linkin Park was a huge influence on me growing up.
Sure.
So a lot of the people that said we sounded like maybe like 30 Seconds to Mars, Mudvayne, and Deftones, and Linkin Park with a little Usher in there. It's weird.
Wow, that sounds really interesting. I'll have to go. You'll have to send me some links, man, so I can listen.
Definitely, we were really good, man. We were about to sign to a huge record label, all that stuff. We went on tour for a pretty long time, a couple of them other bands. But right now, I'm just playing in cover bands, man. So
that's going to be a lot of fun, though, doing the cover stuff, because you're playing songs that are like super familiar and people
there's
know
no
them.
Stress.
Yeah.
There's no promoting. People want to show up and sing, and they're just drunk. So
yeah, exactly. And they hear it drunk, and it sounds to them like the original. So if you screw up something, they probably don't even notice.
Exactly, man. It's a good sign, man.
The biggest problem I had was I was in like a bunch of like emo bands. So like I was like the fat guy in an emo band where like everybody was like rail thin. That was tough.
Oh, dude. Yeah. So I was 3 bands, original bands my entire life. One of them I started, the other one was an emo band. And I was, the fat drummer.
Yeah.
Not fitting in at all. And when I went on tour with these guys, it was just a different lifestyle for me, man. Like we didn't mesh well, but the music was awesome.
Yeah.
Like I still listen to everything, man. Like it's weird. Like even on my playlist in my car, my Spotify, I have like a section or a playlist just called random. And that's literally the most random stuff. I listen to, Fall Out Boy, Lamb of God, and like Wiz Khalifa right next to each other. It's weird.
That's what's up. Now if we're talking Fall Out Boy, because that's out of the 3 you mentioned, that's the one I probably know the best. Are we talking like Take This to Your Grave Fall Out Boy? Or are we talking like some of the newer Fall Out Boy? Like where are you at with the Fall Out Boy? Because they are Chicago, are they not?
They are Chicago.
Yeah.
Not too much their newer stuff. I like their whatever the CD, the album with Dance Dance on it. I don't know what it's called. That's a good CD album. And Thanks for the Memories. Is that what the album title is called? I like that one a lot too.
Yeah. Let's see here. Of course, I have to pull it up because I'm just a nerd. From Under the Cork Tree, 2005.
Yeah. Yep.
That CD had a lot of really good songs on it. I liked. Let's see. I've got a Dark Alley and a Bad Idea. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Champagne for My Real Friends. Real Pain for My whatever that. I have to wait for it to scroll because they always had like these like long ass sentence like song titles.
Yeah. They sure did. It had some really cool names too. There's another band that does that too. What they call Devil Wears Prada.
Oh yeah.
They have some interesting song titles.
I think probably the best Fall Out Boy song though, and it's probably the most well known, at least back in the day, was Grand Theft Autumn.
It's a great song. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw them. There was a show in Asbury Park, New Jersey, a festival, and they played that, and they were actually on like a side stage. This is before they were like really huge, and they had like probably a bigger crowd than the main stage had at the time, and like you couldn't even hear the fucking band. I mean, it's just like everybody singing. It was crazy.
It is. I actually got to interview Pete once a couple years ago.
How was that?
He's a cool guy. It was a short interview. It was probably like 3 minutes. He had to go. I don't know exactly what it was. We had him scheduled for about 10 to 15 minutes. It was weird because he was married to Ashley Simpson, right?
Yeah.
And it was really weird. It's a funny story. We're talking about this right now. So I was interviewing him, and he got a text message, and he showed me the text. It was from his baby mama.
Right.
I don't think they were together at the time. And he's like, yo, I have to cut this interview short. I apologize. We'll do it again. And it was just her just like basically bitching at him. I was like, God, do what you got to do, man. It's all good.
And what were you doing? Like a radio phoner or TV or what were you?
It was a TV interview.
Okay. Yeah. Those things are really short. Cause you figure like especially with like news, like those interviews, they're in and out, like, especially like, even if you're doing a 5 or 10 minute, they're taking what, like a minute and a half, 2 minutes at best.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. It's really short to the point, not like radio, like podcasting is something I wanted to get into, which I do still plan on getting into.
Right.
So you have so much more freedom, and you just like have conversations like this and just like freaking talk,
This is my favorite stuff. I mean, I used to do like an actual like radio show, but on the internet, and it had like a structure. There was a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I mean, I don't get me wrong. It's not that I didn't like it, but like this, where I'm just like, all right, I'm going to call you at this time. And when I call you, I just hit the record button, and that's the podcast. Like for me, that's the most fun. I
agree, man. Like I went to school for radio and TV. So that's how I got into, media. And I had my first radio show in 2010. It was a sports radio show. And it was great. We had a beginning, middle, end.
Yep.
I was the co-host. I wasn't ready to host yet. But I liked being just like, the sidekick, man. And that's how I didn't think I would ever get on TV, and we'll get into that for reasons. I always wanted to be behind a camera or behind the scene in radio, but it just, I didn't know I was going to end up where my path took me. So, I can't complain. I like it.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to like study all that nerdy stuff, like the behind the scenes, like what mics you're using, what kind of board and all that other stuff. I get fascinated by that stuff.
Okay, yeah. I can see that for sure, man.
Yeah. So you did mention TV though. I mean, maybe we're kind of jumping ahead. I'm normally a chronological order kind of guy, but I'm super fascinated about the TV thing. I mean, we could certainly circle back to some more of the earlier years, but like, how do you get an option to go on TV? Like, how does that even work?
Sure. So, what is today? 2019? Yeah. So 2016, 17. 16, yes, okay. I was just watching TV one night, and it's a local TV station here. It's nothing crazy, but it's their sister station to ABC. So it's a pretty big station,
right?
And there was a contest that said, "Hey, send in this video clip of you saying why you're the next TV star. That's what it was. It was kind of cringy, but I'm like, whatever, I'll send something in. Sure. So I sent something in. Just it was a 30-second clip. I filmed it at my job
Yeah.
at 3 o'clock in the morning because I actually work, a normal job as well, a third shift. That's like for me right now.
Yeah.
It's 6 a.m. I'm talking to you right now. I just woke up. It's 6 a.m. for me.
Holy shit.
Like in my everyday life, you know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
that's what my voice sounds kind of hoarse. But I sent in the video, and my wife and I were going to Miami that Monday, and I sent it in on Friday. So I'm like, okay, I'm probably not gonna hear back from these guys. And I got an email back from them in Miami. While in Miami, they said, "Hey, come down. We want to interview you for, to be on TV." I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm in Miami right now. Wasn't expecting this that quick of a turnaround." I'm like, you know what? I'll be there. I'll hop on a plane, and I'll interview or test for the job.
Sure.
So the lady said, "No, don't worry about it. Just hang out in Miami. It was for my wife's sister's wedding, or I forgot what. Maybe it was an anniversary. I don't remember."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Just stay there, and we'll interview you when you get back." So in the back of my head, I'm like, man, I really want to go. This is like a good opportunity. It's just bad timing. So like, I believed her. I trusted her. I was like, okay, I'll stay in Miami, and we'll see what happens. So I get back from Miami that Wednesday, and they just told me they liked, what I sent in. It was just a little clip showing my personality and all that stuff. And they tested me reading teleprompters for 2 months. Okay,
Wow.
being live on TV, there was a lot of prep into it. I'd never done that before, even though I went to school for TV and radio. And so there was a contest, and there was 3 winners. It was myself, a lady, and another guy.
Mhm.
And basically, what ended up happening, they all offered us a job at the same time.
Wow.
At first, I thought it was just going to be one day thing, but I ended up staying there for over 2 years, just because I sent in a little silly video, and I entered a contest and I basically won.
And
So
where were you doing the filming? This is in Chicago?
in Chicago,
Yeah.
we had our own TV still here. It was a good time. I learned a lot, and we'll get into reasons why I believe I didn't make it further in that company
Right.
later on. But there's some reasonings I have.
And what was you said you were shooting some stuff about like your personality and stuff like that. I mean, what was it for, like a show? Was it digital content? Like what were you like on, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, good question. The show was called Tonight on the U. Now, what that means, I had no idea. Again, it's a local station here in Chicago. So a lot of people if you have people that follow this podcast in Chicago, they'll know that station. I guess I can say it. It's WCIU, the U. And again, they're a sister station of ABC. So what I did, if you're watching TV late at night, say even from like 5 p.m. to midnight, and you're watching Seinfeld, Family Guy, How I Met Your Mother, what else is on there? Mike and Molly, all those shows. What I would do is after they go to commercial, I kind of would pop up on your TV screen and say something like, "Hey, don't go anywhere because coming up in this episode, Kramer is an idiot." So that's basically what I did for about 2 years, and that was the main job. It was just hosting Family Guy. What else was it? Family Guy, How I Met Your Mother, Seinfeld, Bob's Burgers. So I basically worked for all those TV shows.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. I loved it. It was something it wasn't something I would think I would ever get into, but it just, kind of fell into place.
It's a unique opportunity, and you're like, what the hell? Why not? Right.
That's exactly what happened, man. I was like, hey, I have nothing to lose, and they're gonna pay me a lot of money to be on TV and do what I want to do, and I love it. So of course I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, why not?
I went to school for this. I might as well try to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done some acting and stuff like that. Nothing too serious. But the reason why I've never really 100% committed to TV or radio was because I was so heavily involved with music at the time.
Right. And maybe you
And
just weren't sure that it was going to go, like, which one was going to take off first. Is that kind of the idea, or?
that was the idea. And also being in a band, this is anyone would know it. You're dating five other dudes, basically, man. It's a relationship, man.
That's the truth.
Like everything has to gel perfectly with everybody. And if something don't work, man, like it's not going to work. So, but with this, it's literally just me.
Yeah.
If I fail, it's my fault. It's no one else's fault, and I can't blame the damn singer.
Exactly.
So, but that's why. And I told myself, if I reach a certain age and the music isn't taking off, I'm gonna dedicate all my time to this, and that's what I've been doing for the past year or so. Right now, or maybe like 6 months or so. I actually stopped playing music right now just to focus and lose weight for more TV opportunities.
You feel like the weight, because I mean, I feel like a lot of times, we're in and this is probably going to sound like, the obvious statement, but I mean, I think it's just worth mentioning that, TV can tend to be a very looks based, environment. Not always, because sometimes you get folks that, that have different shapes and sizes, but for the most part, it's obviously a face game. That's just like in radio. They say, you have a face for radio. It's like one of those old sayings. How long has weight been an issue for you?
Well, my weight has been an issue for other people. I'll say that for my whole life. It hasn't been an issue for me, and we'll definitely get into that.
Yeah,
But I
let's
just want
do
to
it.
touch a little bit. I want to touch a little bit about the TV aspect
Sure.
of being overweight. For me, it definitely held me back. 100%. I feel like that because I've there were given other opportunities to other people that worked in the same company as me that was never given to me, as far as being on like morning show stuff where you're sitting down on a couch
Yeah.
and you have to look a certain way. Like they definitely tested me out for that, and I'm looking at myself on the screen, and I didn't look right. It just. But this is who I was and still am. Like I'm still a huge dude. I've definitely come a long way.
Right.
But being overweight on TV, you tell me three people that that work in news and TV and media that are overweight. And I don't know any.
Neither do
I was
I.
I was very fortunate. They gave me my first job and first taste of this stuff. So I'm like, okay, this is amazing. Thank you for this opportunity. But they definitely, I feel, held me down a little bit because of my weight. And I understand. I'm not mad at them for that. I get it. They're also running a business. But they gave me my first taste of it. And other people around me, I saw them getting other opportunities, not because I felt I was less worthy than them, because I know how to do the job. I know how to talk to people. I knew what it was, and I didn't want to say anything. And I still haven't. This is my first time actually ever bringing this up. A lot of my friends, my family don't know either, but I'm sure they had an idea.
Sure.
Why I felt like. So my contract ended last year, and I haven't been doing anything besides like little here and there stints in like Chicago sitcom stuff, or TV stuff. But to be like what I want to do is be on a morning show and just host my own morning show, or co-host like with Regis and Kelly. Remember those guys?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so stuff like that. But it's hard to do that when you're my weight, because there's right now. I mean, everything is so, first of all, politically correct these days.
Yes.
I don't want to get into that right now, but like
we don't do politics here, Jefferson.
Yeah, good. Not the podcast for that, man.
No.
But like, if you were to see someone like me on TV, people would talk, and I understand that.
Right.
But that's why I dedicated myself right now. Like most recently, I just left my band. I want to say, maybe it wasn't 6 months ago. Maybe it was like 3 months ago. It's very short lived. But I dedicated myself to lose this weight so I can have those opportunities that were never given to me on TV. So that's like the main goal right now.
Sure. I mean, it seems like the weight definitely is holding you back from your further potential. Not that you don't necessarily feel comfortable with it, but just the business, the television business does not feel comfortable. They're not willing to go, all in on somebody of your size, which is total bullshit. I mean, I don't agree with it.
Well, yeah, I mean, no one should agree with it, right? If you know what you're doing and you can connect to people in a certain way and you have a personality that shows through TV, what the hell does it care if I wear a size 56 pants? That shouldn't matter.
Exactly. I mean, it should be your personality that brings you to the dance, not your appearance. I mean, I feel like certainly I've been held back many times because of the appearance, just basically in different potential opportunities, but it is what it is. People will judge a book by its cover, right or wrong. It's crazy.
Oh yeah. And this is not the first time this has happened to me either. Like in other bands, record labels, they and I haven't, again, this is another thing I haven't never brought up. And my band was called Trainwreck Symphony, and I'll definitely send you some links.
Yeah, I want to check that out.
Yeah, well, so there was a couple of record labels that were interested in us, and I feel one of the reasons why we didn't take off and get signed was definitely because of my appearance. Because I know they were talking to some other dudes about, like, hey, you should maybe find another drummer, or right. He has to lose a ton of weight, which again, I get it, man. You're selling sex, on stage sometimes. It doesn't matter if you suck sometimes, man. A lot of bands these days are terrible, but man, they look good,
They sure do. So, yeah, it's a face business, you got to go out and sell concert tickets, go in music videos, all that stuff.
Yeah, and the reason why I don't know, it never really bothered me though, man. It's weird. Like I've always deflected all that stuff through comedy, and you hear that a lot, when people are my size that try to make it in this industry. Like they have to have thick skin and
right,
you funny somehow, or and that's what I've been doing, man. So we'll see what happens at the end of this chapter of my life. Right now, I'm just really focused on shedding some pounds. So, and if it doesn't work out in TV, or I can be like, okay, I actually suck. That's my fault. I'll try something else.
Well, and you mentioned the comedy, so you're actually doing stand up as well.
I'm doing improv right now at the Second City, Chicago. Some of my favorite people in life went to the same school that I've been to, man. It's crazy. Like Steve Carell, Chris Farley. Man, there's just to name a few. Just Tina Fey.
Yeah.
Just to be on that same stage as them is it's humbling, man. It's cool. Like when I walk in through those doors and I just see their faces right there, I'm like, oh shit, that's I know them. I love them.
And I mean, you can identify. I mean, playing in a band and doing stand up. I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say that probably doing stand-up has got to be more nerve-wracking than the band stuff. Is that a true statement or a false statement from your perspective?
Well, that is 100% true.
Okay.
I don't do stand-up though. That's the thing. I'm not a stand-up comedian. Like I do sketch skits, like my Facebook.
I see. I didn't know the difference. So maybe you can kind of educate me on that.
Sure. So stand-up is literally just you on stage telling stories and jokes, and I'm not a good storyteller from what I remember. I can act out a funny scene and I do things in a funny way, but I'm not. If I'm at a wedding or something, like, hey Jefferson, tell me a joke, I'll freeze. Like I can't tell a joke to save my life.
So you're more like an actor. You're acting out segments or skits, as you say.
Yeah, it's more like SNL based. If you ever watch SNL, like that's the stuff I do on my Facebook and social media. But improv is all just made up stuff on the fly. Like we take a suggestion from the audience, so we are on stage.
Yep.
But it's not it's not scripted. It's whatever happens. You gotta be quick witted. So like we'll throw a suggestion from the audience, and we have to make something out of that suggestion, a whole scene. So that's what I'm doing right now, and maybe eventually I'll get into stand up. I think I have some good material. I just don't know how to put it down to paper yet. But you're right. Being in a band is 100% different than even doing improv on stage. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's I could only imagine, because I mean, band stuff to a certain degree, it's like, I mean, it's hard. I don't want to make it seem like it's easy at all. It's definitely hard, but I feel like, you know, people, they want to come just to hear some music, you know, and if they don't know you and the beat's good, they can get into it, you know, with like an improv or a stand up. Like if it sucks, like, you know, you're gonna hear crickets pretty much.
That's very true, man. It's 100% different. And you being in bands, like, so you know how it is. Like sometimes you play to 6 people, and that's more nerve wracking than playing to a sold out crowd, which I've done both.
Yes,
So
100%.
totally different.
Yeah,
You know, I played all the major places out here in Chicago, and some of my favorite ones when I had like a smaller venue. It's just different feeling. I don't know, more intimate, I guess, and cozy.
yeah, those are way better. Like anytime there was a venue where the stage was on the floor and you were eye level with the crowd, I always preferred those over
Yeah,
the stage.
I always like those.
Yeah, those are the best. I like being eye level. And towards the end of my musical kind of history, I was fortunate enough to be in a band that had, you know, a little bit of notoriety in the area, and people knew the lyrics to our songs. And so I could simply throw out a mic when my voice is blown out and have them sing it back to me instead of blowing up my voice further.
That's awesome, man. That's also a good feeling though when you write on your own song, and so like being in a cover band and original band is totally different, man. Like
Yes.
when you're in a cover band and people are singing, you know, you expect that, but you didn't write that. But
Yeah.
when you have an original song and people come out to see you sing or play and they're singing your song, oh, that's a different feeling, and it's all in itself. It's amazing.
Oh, it's
And I do miss
unreal.
that. Yeah.
But much to your point, like with the cover bands and stuff like that, and going out to the bars and people, they're drunk and they're enjoying it. The closest I've ever gotten to that was karaoke. I love karaoke.
Oh man, dude, I feel like we would be best friends because I also love karaoke. We have so much in common, buddy.
Yeah, we're gonna see. This is what happens, dude. We've never spoken before this, other than like a DM. So like, we just jump on the Skype and we start talking, and here we go.
Yeah, man. Like, karaoke, it's fun. I used to host a karaoke night a couple months ago. I stopped that just because I wanted to focus on weight loss. I don't want anything to take up my time this time, and it's great. Like I'm thinking about maybe one day taking the front stage once I'm ready, start singing a little bit. Definitely will be a cover band though.
Yeah,
I can't do my stuff to save my life.
I would always like survey the crowd and see like, okay, what's the demographic that's in the crowd right now? Like, what do I think? Like, I know already like the songs that I like, the songs that, you know, because I have, like you, I have a variety of different things that I like. So like, okay, if it's an older crowd, maybe I hit them with like some Eagles or some Journey. If it's kind of like skewing a little bit younger, maybe some heavier stuff like Foo Fighters or Metallica. Or like one of my favorite things to do is kind of like doing a mixture of those. So like there'll be a crowd, like a mixed crowd, whether it's between like the ages of like 22 to like 50 or whatever. And like, I'll come out and start with like an Eagles. It's kind of like mild or whatever. And then like the middle, like I usually do 3 songs. The middle, I'll do like Metallica or something like that. And like, whoa, okay, that's quite different. And then I really surprise them and I'll throw like some NSYNC on the backside, like the 3rd song.
There it is.
And they're like, hell, oh my God, what's going on? I love that stuff.
Those are timeless hits, man. Every band you just put in is hell yeah. Love me some NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. You kidding me?
That's some of the biggest reactions, surprisingly, that I've ever gotten is doing those songs. And it amazes me because I remember when I was in high school and how much hatred I had for those bands. Because like, oh, screw them. Like I was a Nirvana and Metallica and all that. Like all these bands suck. And
of course.
Now I love them.
Rocking out to them in the shower. I love it. Yeah.
Or in the car, and you got people looking over like, what the hell is that guy doing? I love that, man. I live for that shit.
Yeah, it was a 90s band. So we had like a boy band night. And it was probably one of our best nights. We played you think of. Every boy band hit out there, and it was great. I loved it.
Yeah, I could tell you I went to a New Kids on the Block concert with my wife, and she kind of likes them. She wasn't like a huge fan. They were really going for me. And there's all these like mid-40s like housewives, and they see this big chubby bearded son of a bitch that's just up there dancing, like doing the moves that they're doing on stage, and I'm just singing, and they're like telling my wife like, we want to go home with this guy, not necessarily like a sex or whatever, like hook up, but like, oh, he seems like a good time. We're gonna party with this guy.
Hell yeah, man.
She's like, you know what? Just take him, get him out of here.
I love it.
Yeah. So and especially, you can identify, being the bigger guy and doing that kind of stuff. It'll definitely catch people's attention. That's for sure.
It does, man. I walk in a room and people are, they have no choice but to stare for a second, and they're either going to judge me or like me for what I can bring to the table. And I bring the whole table. So yeah.
I always felt like, I don't know where you're at with this, but I always felt like later in high school, like at first I was always just getting like picked on and stuff like that. And then like later in high school, I'm like, all right, I need to get ahead of this damn thing. So it's like, all right, let me be the funny fat guy, or attempt to be, and I'll poke some fun at myself. And then, whatever, maybe poke fun at others just because I was hateful at the time. Where were you at with all that?
Well, what did you say? The funny fat guy, right? That's my Instagram handle. That funny fat guy, exactly. So
that is true.
Same exact boat from that. But here's the thing, man. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm probably gonna sound a little different than anybody you ever had on your podcast, from what I know.
All right.
I listened to a few of your episodes, and they're always great.
Thank you.
But I've never heard from the podcast that I listened to. I don't know if anybody's ever said this to you before. I was never in my entire life bullied, anything like that. I never had a problem with girls. Wow. I never had a problem with just feeling out of place as a kid. And I've been big my entire life. I started gaining a lot of weight when I was 13. But I was always athletic. I had a baseball scholarship at one point. I played football. I was into wrestling, still am. So like I'd never had like that on me where it's like, oh man, I'm gonna get picked on today. Nah, man, it was different. Like, I'm not saying I was a bully, but if anything, if someone was bullying someone, I was gonna bully them, because I don't like that. I don't play that.
You probably killed him with kindness with this personality of yours, I would imagine.
Yeah, see, exactly, and that's definitely one thing I've learned. That's a little quick segue. I remember I was at a party one day. And this is where I knew I was a little different than people. I was never a follower, Gary. Yeah. I always felt like I was a little bit of a leader in some way. And I remember I was at a party. I was like 15 years old. And this is like our first time at a house party in high school.
Yeah.
And people were drinking and smoking weed. And I'm like, oh, here it is. This is the moment I've seen in Clueless and all the high school movies.
Oh, yeah.
What's going to happen, So I'm waiting. We're all sitting around, and somebody comes up to me like, here, man, hey, take a hit of this. There's some weed. And I deflected with comedy. I'm like, oh, man, I've had enough. Like, I'm so high right now. They were like, oh, I didn't even see you smoke. I'm like, I'm high on life. You jerk. And it worked, and people laughed at that. I'm like, okay, there you go. That was a big moment in my life. So I've never even tried weed my entire life. I tried it once when I was like 27 years old, and I was like, okay, this is not for me.
Well, it stinks. Number one, literally, it stinks.
Yeah.
I had a couple buddies like back in when I think it was my senior year, like they knew I love food. They're like, dude, like we want you to like smoke with us, just try. And I was very resistant because I had a grandparent that died of lung cancer, and not that it had anything to do with weed. She smoked cigarettes for years and years and years. And for me, it was always the act of like smoking, like picking it up, puffing it and all that. I'm like, I'll never, ever do that. And like nothing you say is going to get me to try this. So they're like, all right, fine. If you sit in the backseat of my car and let us hotbox you, we'll take you to Wendy's and buy you the triple cheeseburger. And I was like, oh, done. I don't think I've ever told that one on the podcast. I've told many other stories over and over and over again. I don't think I've ever told that one.
That was great.
Yeah. So and hey, I told them, I was like, Wendy's, it wasn't a supersize. I'm like, I want the largest fry, the largest
Right.
Coke, and that triple cheeseburger, and you better put bacon on that son of a bitch too.
That's awesome.
Loaded it up, man. We loaded it up.
That's a good story, man. But yeah, I never, never into that stuff, man. Even as a kid.
What about drinking? Did you ever get into that at all?
I still drink to this day. I never had a problem with it. I don't think I do. I mean, I'll drink occasionally.
Sure.
Um, I probably a social drinker, so I probably go out once a month and I'll have a couple drinks. So nothing too crazy, Not like I think I've definitely drank more before I was 21 than after I was 21. That's
Yeah.
for sure. I was the first one to move out of my house, and right after high school, I had my own place, me and two roommates. So I was a party house. And I remember paying my rent for a whole year just on throwing parties. It was crazy.
What were
Man.
you charging admission at the door?
I sure was.
God
Oh yeah.
damn, this sounds like one of those like rated R comedy movies from like the 90s.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was, man. I remember one year for New Year's Eve, it was like 2002, 2003.
Yeah.
We charged, I think it was $10 a head to get in.
Man.
And I had a pretty big house at the time, and we paid our rent for 5 months from just that one party. It was great.
How did your house ever get trashed though? Like that's the one thing I would
Oh,
fear.
God. Yes, 100%. Things got broken, stolen. Trash is not even a word, man. But we would clean it up, I guess, or my roommates would. I would probably do something else. Skip out on it, like, oh, sorry, gotta go to work.
Sounds like me at the dishes with my house. My wife's probably in the car right now, shaking her head in disagreement.
I understand that way too much. Yeah, it was but going back to the weight, I never had a problem with it. And another big thing why I never really cared, I've always been healthy.
Yeah.
And anytime I would go to the doctor, Gary, I swear to God, that any doctor I would go see, any new doctor, they will always tell me the same thing. Like, Jeff, you're the healthiest fat guy I've ever seen. And that always stuck with me. So I'm like, well, if I'm okay with the way I look and I'm healthy and I love food,
yeah,
I guess I'm going to continue until you tell me I have diabetes or something,
yeah.
Be something to like be motivated, like shit. And it was till recently where I was like, okay, I know I'm healthy. That's great, thank God. I have no problems. But
Right.
now I just want to be more comfortable in my skin. I don't want to struggle to put on my socks.
Sure.
And sit in booths at a restaurant, stuff like that. Just normal, everyday stuff that a lot of people don't think about.
Right. And how did you, you said, I think you said like around 13 is when you really started to gain the weight. What was that like a product of? Like, what was it that, were you just like snacking too much, or like, what was it that kind of put it on for you?
Well, I was gaining weight actually I started, about 13 years old, and I grew up in a household like Italian and Hungarian. I was eating just the worst things you can ever think of. A lot of carbs, obviously.
Yeah.
And just, a lot of fast food at the time, where it wasn't really looked down upon, like McDonald's every other day for, if my mom didn't want to cook, she would just go grab us something like that. So we never had the best diet growing up. But the thing is, all my other siblings are skinny. So it was only me that was gaining weight. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Why is it just me? So one day, my mom took me to the doctor just to see, like, do I have some kind of weight problem? Because sure, I was eating bad stuff, but I was very athletic. I was out every day, baseball, football, I was doing a lot of things. But she was like, why are you gaining so much weight? And I had this lump on my neck, on the back of my neck, and I still do to this day. It was like a little hump. So she's like, let's go check that out. Let's go see what this is about.
Yeah.
And she took me to the hospital. And they did a CAT scan and all this stuff. And she was like, can you check his weight? We want to know why he's gaining so much weight. And they're like, he's just, yeah, get him on a diet. Like, he's fine. But they, after getting checked out for the hump on my neck, I was fine. It was just like, oh, that's just how I am born, just the way I am.
Right.
But in doing so, they found out that I had lung cancer at the ripe age of 13.
Holy shit.
So, yeah, if I wouldn't have went to go check out this weird little hump on my neck, I would have never knew that I had, cancer. It was at the time I didn't know what it was. They said it was a fatty tumor
Right.
on my lung. They ended up taking 20% of my lung out at 13, and I was in bed for like 2 months. It was crazy. So I missed out on a whole year of school basically because I couldn't leave the house after 6 months.
Yeah.
So I had to be held back. I think it was in sixth grade, and I had to make all new friends after that, which was whatever. It was fine. And at that point, I was still gaining weight, and that's where I gained most of my weight because I was just at home eating. And at that point, I couldn't walk, and I wasn't playing baseball at the time. So that's where the most of my weight gain started, around 13, after finding out that I had, the cancer. And thank God I'm fine now. But there's not a lot of people that know that about me. A lot of my friends don't even know that I had it, and I don't. I respect people that had cancer and they beat it. It's incredible. Thank God.
Yeah.
But I've never wanted that on me, and I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me. So I never brought it up. There's only maybe 2 or 3 people that I actually know that I had it, and I don't know. I just never wanted a pity party. Not that anybody with cancer has pity, but
Sure.
just for me being a fat kid, I didn't want that used as a crutch and people be nice to me because of it. You know what I'm saying? So it was always in the back of my head. Just I beat it. I survived it. Okay, next chapter of my life, and I just never talked about it.
Yeah, because that's a lot of people they don't walk away from that. I mean, like my grandmother, they thought they got it out, and they had her scheduled for her plastic surgery to fix up her neck, and she was going to have one of those little voice things, a little robot thing.
Yeah.
And they like before they took her for the plastics, they found out that, oh wait, there's more, and now it's too far. We're too far in. That was back in like 99. So it sounds like they probably caught yours early before it got too much.
Yeah, I'm assuming they did. I remember I told my mom the only way I'm going for this surgery is if I get a PlayStation 1. And so of course they bought it for me. I'm like, all right, fine. I guess I'll have this stupid surgery. So that helped me out being in bed for 6 months.
I could imagine. Yeah, that first PlayStation. You ever play that Die Hard game? Did you ever have that?
The Die Hard, I'm sure I did, man. I've had, yeah, I was a big gamer back then.
Yeah, that
Right
was.
now, I play sports games. I'm not really into it too much these days.
Yeah, I haven't played in so long. I have an Xbox, and I jump on once in a while, but I don't know. Like there's only certain, like I'll play in any WWE game that comes out, any Mortal Kombat, or
Same.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. You said wrestling. Does that include WWE, or were you just talking like high school wrestling?
No, only WWE.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I'm a huge wrestling mark. I'm actually, I don't know if you know about the new company that's coming out.
AEW. Yeah.
I'm going to be I went to the one in Vegas, and I'm going to one in Chicago as well.
Oh man, you
All
lucky
out.
Bastard.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Well, I'm going to be at their first TV show, so take that.
Hey, so am I.
Oh, in DC?
Yeah, DC. Yeah.
All right. Well, now we have to meet up now.
Oh hell yeah! That just made my day. Hell yeah, cool.
Oh man, you're going to travel to DC for the first for the show. This is history.
I know. I usually travel for WrestleManias and Royal Rumbles. So
I've never been to a Royal Rumble. I've done WrestleMania like 5 or 6 times. Never done a Rumble.
Yeah, me and my friends, we love any reason to really travel is we like to do. Like I'll travel for Bears games, but I don't like going to Bears games here in Chicago. It's weird. If they're playing somewhere else, I'll go, but I don't want to go to Soldier Field.
Fair enough. At the risk of losing some people, I won't go super deep in the weeds with wrestling, but just real quick, you think Punk is showing up or no?
Man, I'm hoping for it. First of all, he lives like probably 5 minutes from me, so I
Yeah.
see him all the time, like just walking around his motorcycle, little scooter
Yeah.
with his wife. And I never have a chance to speak to him. And even if I do, he doesn't like that shit. I'm not going to go up to him and ask him like, "Hey, am I going to see you at AEW?" But I have a huge feeling if there was ever a reason for him to come back ever in life in wrestling, it's this coming 31st of August. So
Yeah.
I have a feeling that he might show up, man.
I'm getting
He's already going to be there. He's going to be there signing autographs. So
yeah, are you gonna do the Starcast?
no, I'm not doing Starcast. That Friday I have a show. But I'll be in the audience on Saturday. We got front row seats too, so
No
you might.
shit.
Yeah,
Man, now that's cool.
I'm a huge mark, dude. I'm telling you, I love wrestling.
Actually, the first episode of this podcast, I interviewed Conrad Thompson.
Oh no way! I gotta listen to that one then.
Yeah, that was my very first one. If you want to hear me rusty, I've been doing podcasting for 12 years now, but that was my first podcast I had done in like 2 years, and I was rusty as all hell. But I wanted to have him on because I just thought he was a fascinating guy. Like that's before I started getting into like I talked weight loss on the podcast when I first started, but I figured like for guests I was just going to interview like interesting people, and who more interesting than a guy who runs a mortgage company that has like 3 of the top and at that time he only had 2 of the top 3 podcasts, but I just thought he was super fascinating, and he agreed to come on, and I had him on, and it was awesome.
Hell yeah, do you? He's a lot of people say that I look like Conrad. I'll do a side by side maybe one day. But yeah, I gotta listen to that podcast. That's incredible.
Well, now that I know you're a wrestling fan, that was like the first probably 5-6 years of my podcasting life was wrestling. That's all I talked about. I interviewed tons of wrestlers.
Nice, man.
Yeah, I was a terrible radio host, but it was fun to at least interview the wrestlers.
That's cool, dude. I actually this summer I was going to start a podcast, just interviewing just interesting people and how they got started from musicians, actors, wrestlers, entrepreneurs, anything. But then again, I'm like, let me put that on hold just to lose this damn weight. So we'll see what happens next year.
Definitely. What when you're kind of like gaining and gaining and gaining, like, do you have a point? Do you have like a breaking point? I remember I seen this one picture of myself that just brought me right down to zero. I mean, did you have like a breaking point, or was it just like a culmination of, all right, I know I got to do it. I know I got to do it. Boom, I'm going to do it.
For me, that's a great question. First of all, and it's hard for me to answer that because I was always comfortable. Like I was comfortable to the sense where like I was healthy, right? Number one, I have a beautiful wife. Number two, I have a good job. Like I'm living, I'm happy.
Sure.
Then I looked at this one picture at my brother's wedding, and I was like in a suit, and I'm like, okay, I look like there's 3 of me in there. I'm like, maybe I should like lose some of that weight just to fit better in clothing again, and just like I don't know what your heaviest weight was, but my heaviest weight was it was definitely over 500 and like I want to say 20 pounds.
Okay.
And when I first stepped on a scale, it was 510, but that was 3 weeks prior to me like losing weight, and I ordered a scale online, a big enough scale to even weigh me because there was no one, I couldn't find a 500-pound plus scale.
Right.
So I'm guessing I was definitely like over 520. And at my brother's wedding, I just was like, oh, like sure, I never had a problem with, again, just being involved with friends and girls, but just after seeing this one picture of me, I'm like, man, that's just that's not normal. Let's see what we could do. Imagine if I was half of that size. So that was my breaking point. I would say if I had to pinpoint it, it was probably at my brother's wedding, and I was wearing like this tux where they had to make this makeshift vest
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like a regular vest. It was like a fat man vest, you know? I'm like, oh, it's terrible.
Dude, I can relate. The picture that I'm referring to, you might have seen on my Instagram. I'm in a suit at my cousin's wedding in Charleston, South Carolina, and that was just rough. And I was in all black too, and that normally black was very good to me, or so I saw. So I thought. Bleh. So I thought, and I saw this picture. I'm like, oh my god, who is this pumpkin head some bitch? Like, it's like, man, this is crazy because I didn't have the beard or anything, and it blew my mind.
Yeah, man. And there's always that one point, you know, and you go back to it, you're like, holy shit, I was huge, man. Like, and at the point at that time, I was like, I was just fine too with it. Nothing bothered me because I
Yeah,
was, you know, I was just happy. And I always, maybe I wouldn't have let myself get to that weight, Gary, if people were to maybe bully me or pick on me, or a doctor telling me, hey, dude, you know, it's time for you to lose weight. You're not healthy. Maybe, you know, I wouldn't be in the position I am in right now
sure.
because I was always okay. Which, you know, when I think about it, I'm kind of pissed about that. I don't know.
I
Now I'm working so hard to lose all this stupid weight.
I think so many times like we go through this like what it's called like yo-yo dieting. We go up and we go down and we try different plans and we're all over the place. And so like how many times did you attempt before you're on this like current journey, or is this the one continuous journey you've been on?
Um, I would say maybe 3 times that I actually really attempted. Um, and here's another reason why I think I've gained most of my weight when I was maybe in my late 20s.
Okay.
I started working the third shift overnights at a condo building, like a hospitality hotel downtown Chicago. And all I do was just sit down and freaking watch TV, play PlayStation, watch Netflix on my laptop. So it's a great job. You
Sounds
know,
pretty chill. Yeah.
it's very chill. Money's decent. You know, good benefits. But there's nothing open good at 3 in the morning besides McDonald's and 7-Eleven. So that's where the most of my weight gain came from about maybe 25 to now. I probably gained about a good 200 pounds easily, just like off of being working a third shift.
Right.
So now I'm trying to get off this shift. And, you know, I don't want to say I'm getting off it because I love working the third shift. I'm just making a ton of better choices these days where I'm not going to McDonald's at 3 a.m. I'm not eating Lunchables, you know, from 7-Eleven. I'm bringing my food to work and it's all healthy stuff. I'm eating only an apple and maybe a cucumber. So I'm making a lot more decisions, you know, healthy decisions, and which I should have been doing a long time ago. But you know, I'm also a lazy person. So
Yeah, it definitely doesn't come easy making those changes. How long of a process was that for you to kind of ease into, or maybe not ease is the right word because it's never easy, but like to kind of transition, maybe that's a better word, to transition into some of these new habits?
I'll tell you, when I first lost 100 pounds was in 2016, maybe I don't know, a couple years ago.
Okay.
Uh, and this was at my heaviest weight. Again, I was over 500 pounds, and I'm like, all right, let's try to lose some weight. What's out there? What can I do to lose weight fast? I wanted to lose it fast. I didn't have patience, which I'm guessing is a huge thing you need. You definitely need patience in this journey, right? You need patience
Yeah.
and consistency, I would say. And I didn't
Yes.
have that back then. I just wanted to lose it quick. Give me all the fad diets you had. I don't care what it is. I will do it. What do you got? So I came across that Netflix documentary. What was it called? Fat, Sick, You're Nearly Dead. If
Yes.
you remember that one. And that shit got me inspired, man. I'm like, whoa, okay, that guy lost a ton of weight. I was like, maybe I can do that. I can juice. We'll see what happens. So I tried that and I lost in the first 10 days like 15 pounds. I'm like, oh, whoa, okay, this is actually working. it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life because I did it for off and on for 6 months, and that's where I lost my first like 100 pounds
Yeah.
just juicing. But I did my own version of it. I just did not just drink juice, and this is where the weight kind of fluctuated, where it was up and down, up and down. I would juice for 5 days out the week, and at night at work I would eat like popcorn just to have something in my mouth or sunflower seeds.
Sure.
So I was losing a lot of weight, but then on my days off, Saturday and Sunday, okay, I'm like, all right, here are my cheat days. I'm going to Chili's, I'm going to Outbacks, Lou Malnati's, and I would gain like 8 pounds in 2 days. I'm like, holy shit, okay, this is not working.
Right.
So I did that for 6 months, and it stayed off, but I put on another like 30 pounds after that. So I'm like, all right, I got down. We'll say I'm down 70 pounds now. So from 500, we'll say I'm down 430. And
Yep.
at this point, I'm like, man, I feel great. This is awesome. I can move without, I can walk more than 2 minutes. I can actually put on my socks now. Like, I'm cool with this weight.
It's a good feeling.
But then, I had the TV stuff happen, and I'm like, all right, maybe I'm not getting opportunities because of my weight.
Yeah, that's fair. And by the way, you're talking about going out all these places, Chili and Outback and all that. One of the things I gave up this year, like it's like a challenge for the whole year, is giving up pizza. Now, I've never had Chicago style, like real. I mean, I've had Uno's here in Virginia, but I know that that's probably not even close. But all right, break it down to me. Chicago or New York style pizza. What's up?
Man, I've had both.
Yes.
And I am not a picker. I'm not a picky eater. First of all, you don't get a body like this being picky. Okay, let's just put that out there.
Okay.
But if I had to pick, obviously I'm biased to my hometown, Chicago, and it's not even being biased. It's just the truth because I've had both. I was just in New York recently filming a TV show, and I had some New York style pizza, and it was good. Like it wasn't terrible, but there's nothing like a Chicago style pizza, man. Like I'll fight anybody any day up for that. And I definitely miss it.
Yeah.
Like, there's these health gurus, and I'm sure you've had people on here, and maybe you're one of them that just give up their entire lifestyle from what they were to what they are now. And I don't think I'll ever do that. Like I love life. I like going out and having fun. So even if I'm on this healthy journey diet and I have to go to a wedding and I'm in the middle of a journey, I'm breaking that one day just to live, man. Because first of all, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. You know what I'm saying? So that's my model these days.
I love that. You're here for a good time because you're not here for a long time.
Yeah, but in the meantime, I'm still working my ass off though. So
yeah. No, I would never advocate like just outright, quitting things. Like, I mean, the pizza thing was kind of a joke. I mean, I'm taking it seriously, but I was just like, okay, this whole year, can you live without it? It was pizza, chocolate, and alcohol. And I'm like, can you go with it? And so far, I haven't had one craving for them at all. Now you tell me, hey, Gary, give up Mexican for a year. I'm going to tell you to go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
That's not happening.
That's incredible, man. And the thing is with me, like, I'm not married to anything like that. Like, if I had to not drink alcohol or chocolate or pizza for months at a time, I can do it.
Sure.
I'll just, something else. But just I don't know, man. The point of my life right now, like, I just want to be healthier, just in case, see what happens. Maybe I want a kid down the line, and just even though the doctor says I'm healthy, maybe they're missing something. I don't know. I'm precautious right now. That's all. I'm very cautious, not precautious.
No, I totally makes sense. And I know you were mentioning to me in a DM you had an experience where you were losing weight on television.
Yeah, that was my second journey.
Tell me about that one.
Yeah, after the juicing failed, I wouldn't say failed because I lost 70 pounds on that. Right, I was down to like 430, and I just like stayed there for about a year. I would say I was there for about a year.
Right.
And at that point, I was fine, because I lost 70 pounds and shit, man, 70 pounds off you. I felt like a new person, man.
Yeah.
It was great. I'm like, I'm cool here, man. Thank you. I'm good. But then there was this opportunity that came along. Um, it was in Japan. I don't even know where I got it from. Maybe it was Craigslist or my agent got it for me. I don't know. But the thing was, hey, come to Japan for 2 months for 60 days, and we're gonna pay you a lot of money to lose weight. I'm like, hang on a second. Did I just read this correctly? You're gonna pay me
Right.
to come to the place I've always wanted to travel to, and I get to lose weight and be on TV. Okay, let's try this out. So I auditioned, and I got it, and they flew me out to Japan. First of all, it was very hard to get off work for 2 months
I
for
could
sus.
imagine.
Yes. So I'm like, I was very apprehensive. I had so many reasons not to go, only a few to go. Right. So I finally made a decision. Let's just do it. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. It was hard
Yeah.
leaving my wife and my dog. Probably more hard leaving my dog than my wife if she ever asks. Um, so being in Japan, it was called Diet Japan. Okay,
Okay.
and premise of the show was, can you lose weight on a Japanese diet compared to American diet? So obviously, I was already American, and my diet here wasn't working. So I lost 60 pounds in 60 days, 62 pounds in 60 days. It was great.
It's
I loved it,
insane.
man. Japan was, I can do a whole podcast on Japan. It was the nicest people, the most interesting culture, so structured out there. Here, side note, really quick. I'm not going to go too long on this. I lost my wallet in Japan. Okay,
Okay.
I I was going to say Times Square, in Tokyo, and I had about $2,000 in there, and it was Japanese money, right? And I had my passport in there, and I lost it on a Friday. So I'm freaking out. I'm calling my wife. I'm like, "Hey, I don't know if I'm coming back home. I don't have my passport anymore. I don't have any money.
Yep.
We got to figure this shit out." And we're all freaking out. And so I was with a translator because everybody there obviously didn't speak great English. So my translator said, "Just wait till Monday, and we'll go to the police station." I'm like,
Okay.
"Oh, okay, whatever that means. You're not here in Chicago. That doesn't work. It's gone." So Monday comes, we go to the police station, and dude, my wallet was there, and there was a note, a letter attached to it that said, "No need to call or say thank you. Just want to help out a foreigner." And I was like, "Holy shit!"
That's insane.
I was like, "What?" And all my money was in there, my passport, everything. That's the kind of culture they have out there, though, man. Like, it's completely different from where Western civilization out here. I'm saying there's some good people out here too, but you lose a wallet in Chicago and it's gone forever.
Oh yeah,
So,
100%.
but that was incredible.
I've always definitely wanted to check out Japan. Obviously, I like New Japan, so I'd like to go to one of their shows. I don't know if you ever made it to one of their shows while you're over there, but
I wanted to, I couldn't.
The one thing that kind of freaks me out is I am kind of a picky eater, and I've been around Japanese food. I've never really been a fan of it. There's like, I could probably count on one hand what I'll eat versus what I won't eat. And I don't know, that would be my one thing freaking out, would be going out there and like not having anything that I could eat.
That was one of my biggest fears going into it. Obviously, you know a lot about Japanese cuisine, where it's a lot of fish,
Yeah, I hate
which is fine. Like,
fish.
I don't. You hate fish? I don't mind it, but I don't. It's not my first choice.
Yeah.
So we would wake up, but the reason why it was so structured out there, we were literally just focused on eating healthy, and it was amazing. I had somebody wake me up in the morning, 7 a.m. like, "Jefferson, your food is ready." Like, oh shit, okay. noon at 12 o'clock. Again, your food is ready, and it's the healthiest stuff you can eat. But it was so good and filling that you didn't even. I wasn't hungry the entire time. I'm like, this is amazing. This is actually working. There was only one thing I did not eat. I was like, no, I'm not eating this. And again, this is a TV show I'm on, so they wanted me to at least try it
Sure.
for the camera. I'm like, okay, I will try it for the camera, but that is it. One bite, and it was a live squid.
Oh
I'm like, oh
man.
my god! But it was probably one of the best scenes in the whole documentary.
Is this
uh,
stuff online anywhere? Like to go watch this
it's
stuff?
online somewhere, but it's in Japanese, and they had like the most hilarious voiceovers for the Americans on the documentary.
Oh, so you don't even get your voice. It's some guys speaking in
Yeah,
Japanese over top of you.
exactly. It was
Oh man.
overdubbed. Yeah, I've seen it like once or twice, but the entire, Japan is like one of their biggest shows out there. So there was over 40 million people watching this show.
You said it was
So
called what?
Diet Japan.
Diet Japan. All right.
Yeah, it's hard to find, man. Like in Google, like you got to have a special link. I'll send it to you if you want to check it out. I
I'm
have
just
it somewhere.
curious. I'm so fascinated. Like we've been on this thing now for a little over an hour, which it doesn't even seem like it's been an hour,
Wow.
but I'm like super fascinated right now by all of this.
Yeah, it was fascinating for me too, man. But the thing is, right when I got back to America, guess what happened? I put on 25 pounds like easily. Like the next month and a half, and I was like, fuck, man. Did I just go to Japan just to have fun, or did I actually go there to lose weight? And that kind of bothered me until this day. But again, I lost 60 pounds, so I kept 40 pounds off. So at this point, I'm down to 400 now, or 390,
Right.
and I like lingering around there.
That's
So like,
around where I
okay,
started, I remember.
okay. So now my third journey is something else. And right now I'm currently down to like 360,
That's
which is,
awesome.
I feel good, man, but I'm thinking about the long run where I'm thinking about more of my career at this point.
Yep.
If it wasn't for that, I probably can say I would be comfortable with this weight. Maybe no, I want okay, first of all, my goal weight is 299. I just want to
Okay.
be in the twos. That's my goal weight. So I was out of the fives, out of the fours. I want to be out of the threes, and I'd be cool with just hanging out to 299 because I've always been a big guy,
Yep.
you know. And anytime I lost a good amount of weight, I'm like, oh man, this feels amazing. Like, holy shit, I can actually do things now. Like, I'm fitting in booths now at restaurants.
That's a
When I'm
game changer when that happens.
right. Oh man, that feels so cool.
Because I'm hanging out in like the 280s right now, so I'm loving life versus when I was
There you
damn
go.
near 400.
Yeah, dude. Like, you're my goal. You.
And I'm glad you said that because a lot of people will think like, oh, I haven't gotten this far, or I feel like a failure. And in reality, like where you're at right now could be somebody else's goal. Like there might be somebody out there right now that is where you started that is saying, man, that Jefferson, he's goals, man.
That's a good point, man. Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
100%. Like one of my friends, um, he lost over 300 pounds in 1 year.
Damn.
He's someone I might want to hook you guys up with and link with because he has an incredible story too, and he's inspired me. I don't know how he did that, but he was a big guy. He was like 600 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, right now down to like, yeah, he's like 300.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, but he had a lot of medical issues. Like for me, it wasn't always about medical. It was
Sure.
really I wanted to be an Instagram model. That's what it was.
You got to meet. Do you follow Gary Vaynerchuk? I feel like you got to meet him.
Gary V, of course, I know who he is, not personally, but yeah, I follow him.
Yeah, you got to get in front of that guy. I feel like he would hear your story and he would love that.
How shit, I would love that, man. I would love to get my story out for anything. I mean, I know I'm not your typical fat guy, growing up, and I don't know if a lot of people are going to get any kind of value from this episode. but there are always two sides to it, man. Not everybody that grew up fat was, bullied or just had a horrible life, because I can't say that I did.
Yeah.
Besides like being, cancer at 13, I'm still a pretty happy dude, man. It takes a lot for me to get angry. Um, like obviously I'm married, so me and my wife fight once in a while,
Sure.
and she gets angry at me when I am not angry. Does that make any sense?
Oh
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm sorry, like I'm not mad right now. So like it's just traffic. What do you want me to do? Like, they have somewhere to go too. So I'm just like a happy dude always. And I don't know. I just I guess I had, a lot of troubles growing up, and I just learned to live with it and just appreciate life. That's all. That's what I'm about, man.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think I will disagree with you on one thing. I think people are definitely going to get value from this for sure. I think that just that the perspective and the background you come from and your outlook on things is definitely going to be a breakthrough to a lot of people, especially that line about living to have a good time, because you're not going to be living, for a long
Yeah.
time. I mean, that's powerful. Like that's a freaking soundbite. I mean, that sounds like a meme that you should be posting, or like something you should put on a t-shirt or something. Cause that I think is extremely relatable. I think people, they may not be thinking like that. And I wasn't even thinking like that. Although I have similar beliefs that, life is not guaranteed. I nearly died at one point. Life is certainly not guaranteed, but when you put it in the way that you put it, that's
Mhm.
relatable to anybody. If they're not relating to that, they're not a human.
That's true, man. Yeah, I appreciate that, and it's true. Like I just, and I try to live by that now, man. Like
Yeah.
right now, I'm on my third like real journey, weight loss journey, and again, I'm down to like I'm in the 360s right now, and I don't plan on stopping right now because I gave up a lot of stuff, man. Like I stopped playing music for this right now. I'm not focusing on other little side jobs. Like I was a trivia host, a bingo host, a karaoke host,
Right. Right.
anything in media, and to be in front of a crowd, I was doing, and I just don't want to do that right now. My whole main focus is just going to the gym, eating healthy, and seeing where I'm at the end of the year. And there's another reason why, and I can't say exactly what it is. I can probably tell you off air.
Okay.
Um, there's a TV show that I'm about to appear on, and it airs in January,
Okay.
and it's it's a big show. Not to give anything away,
Right.
but I am going to do a lot of media for this. I'm
Okay.
going to be doing a lot of TV interviews and radio interviews, and I just want to look completely different for this. So this is another reason why I am doing this right now.
So in other words, this is the show that myself or a lot of other people that are listening, they would know immediately when you say, "Oh, it's this show." Oh, yeah, that show. They would know what it is.
I would assume so, yeah. And
Wow.
maybe I'll come back on once I can talk about it, and tell you where I'm at that point, and talk more about the show too.
Well,
It's a
man, we're buddies now. I got to get an exclusive. I mean, come on, man, hook a brother up.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you off air. Of course.
I mean, we're practically already great friends now. We're gonna be hanging out at AEW. So I mean,
Man, that'll be great, dude. Yeah. And we're basically best friends now. Yeah.
It's going down. This is how it happens. One of my good friends on Instagram, Daryl Perry, if you're not following him already, at Your Level Fitness, like we met on Instagram because I did an interview with one of the girls that he knew from Instagram, and she promoted the podcast, and he checked it out and he liked it, and then we started talking, and I would say he's probably like my best Instagram friend, and I basically mention him on every single podcast by now. He's a big podcaster too. But that's how this happens, dude. It's like, you meet people and you have a connection, and this is what happens. We walk out of here great friends now, I feel like.
Dude, yeah. The power of social media is incredible, man.
Hell yeah, man.
Stand that sometimes. I have some friends that are at Second City with me that are trying to make it and break it in the comedy world that don't have any social media at all. I'm like, yo, what are you doing, man? Like,
Yeah.
trust me, this is not how what do you think it is. We're networking, we're building like a community here. It's gonna help you. Like I just started this other Instagram, that funny fat guy,
Yeah.
and trying. I'm being myself 100%. Like when I'm at the gym, I hate it, and I'm telling people that, but I'm
Yes.
still there. Like I'm there. I'm grinding, and I'm still making my comedy bits into losing weight. So they see that not everything is like, oh, this is great and so motivational and easy. No, it's hard and it's work. But again, like I'm trying to make light of it because that's how I am and that's how I cope with things, man. So like my Instagram is more dedicated to losing weight, obviously, but also just having fun with it as well. So that's what I'm about right now.
Yeah. The people that, break through the most on social media are the real people. If you're out there putting on an act or,
Oh no.
or to borrow a line from your world, doing a skit or something, if you're one of those folks, you're not going to go very far, but the people that are real are the ones that break through, the ones with a message, the ones that are being the realest versions of them. That's why I'll put out a picture of my gut sinking to the ground. It's probably a photo that I would have never, ever, ever shared before, but now I can show that, and I can show a picture now and share some real life perspective, my opinion on it, and how it worked for me. And hopefully that might, help somebody. That's the hope.
That's exactly like whenever I posted this one picture of me there. I had a pair of, it was actually my wedding pants from my brother's wedding, and I took a picture of me recently in it,
Right.
and I can fit two of me in there right now. It was crazy. I was like,
That's
holy shit!
insane.
I didn't know I lost that much. Like currently, I'm down like about 145 pounds since that day. And again, I mean that's like a whole person, right? A whole little skinny dude, and I love it. It's great, and I still have a long way to go, man. But there's so many. Getting back to the fad diets, like there's so many that I tried that I didn't talk about. Like I remember I tried keto a couple times, and just a little quick side story about this. I
Okay.
tried keto and I lost about 20 pounds, I would say, in about 12 days. I'm like,
Wow.
holy shit, this is amazing. This is my go to. I'm never doing anything else again. But then I smelled one carb and I gained 8 pounds back the next day. So I'm like, okay, this is not for me. What can I do? So right now, what I've been doing is just literally eating healthy. And here's it. It's a mindset too, right? So I was telling my wife the other day, before I was just eating like bad stuff, just to get full. I was like, if I eat veggies or ground turkey meat, I'm still getting that same full feeling, just with better shit in me. So why haven't I been doing that? And
Yeah.
now it's like that's how my mindset changed. So I'm just eating healthy right now and just working out.
Yeah.
Literally, that's the easiest way to do it. No more fads.
At some point it all starts to click. I mean, you change your habits, and as I say with the four pillars, you practice patience, you practice consistency, you work hard, and self-love. You love yourself, not in the egotistical kind of way, although some people will do that, but I mean just in the, I believe in myself, I love my body, I'm comfortable with the body I'm in. If you got all four of those pillars, man, you can move some mountains with that stuff.
That's great. I love that. That makes so much sense.
Yeah, I mean, it took me a long time to realize that. I didn't notice that like right out of the gate, but in time, you start to learn it, and it becomes a part of you. So you could do some amazing things, my
Yeah,
friend.
man. Yeah, hey, I appreciate you, man. Like you're doing great for the community too, man. A lot of people should definitely, be a part of what you're bringing to the table as well. Again, the reason how I found you was from that big guy 700, right?
Yeah,
That is a handle. He's from Chicago as well too. I would love to meet him one day and just meet up with him. I tried to DM him. He never got back to me. So whatever. I don't want to ever meet him now.
I would imagine his DMs are probably lit, as the
Yeah.
kids would say.
Oh yeah, that kid is he's doing a lot. He's been very inspirational for so many people. He works hard too, man. I see him on his Instagram.
Yeah, I mean, I have probably a fraction of his following, but like it can be overwhelming at times, and I don't want to make it like a woe is me. Oh God, it's so hard to reply to messages on an Instagram. But like there are times where like you'll get, you'll have a high traffic day, let's say, and you get a lot of messages, usually around the podcast. I'll get messages, people feedback, and stuff gets buried down, and there's stuff that you don't see or stuff that, you forget about. And then you're like, somebody comes back to you a month later, like, hey, what the hell, man? You never got back to me. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. Like so like in his position, I can only imagine what that's like.
Absolutely. And I understand that too. Cause like my main platform is Facebook.
Right.
But that's for just like my comedy stuff. So I have, I don't know, maybe 20,000 people that follow me on there, which is, great.
Sure.
And there's people that messages me and I don't see them all the time either because it floods sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally understand that aspect where, it just gets buried. But, I'm sure one day we'll meet up, man. We're from the same hood, so we'll see.
Oh, definitely. And yeah, he had an amazing story, and that's why I like doing this, is because everybody's got a unique story, and almost everybody I talk to, much like yourself, is like, well, I don't know if there's any value to my story. I mean, I've had people that have kind of not necessarily declined to do the podcast, but they're nervous or they get cold feet. Like, I just don't think that what I have is interesting or offers value. But I am a firm believer that everyone has a unique story, and there is something in their story that can help at least one person. And that's why I always advocate for people to come on, but I don't like to be pushy about it. There's a lot of people that I probably have talked to in the past that like we've talked about it, but I never push it. I never, push to get them on. Cause if they don't seem like they're interested, I'm just not going to push it. But, I think there's been people that they just feel like they don't have a lot to add. I'm like, I think you're wrong. I think you have a lot to add. Maybe you're just not ready, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
I appreciate that, man. No, this has been fun. I'm glad you had me on, man.
Definitely. So, before we wrap this thing up, like officially, tell people where they can find you on social, everywhere that you want them to go. This is like the plug section where you tell everybody everything you got going on.
Right now, I'm just more focused on my my Instagram, building that. I mean, you guys can follow me on my Facebook. It's just my name, Jefferson Goldie. Goldie is Goldie. I have a couple Instagrams, but the one that I really want to focus on is just the weight loss one, where I'm just posting funny videos of me losing weight,
right,
and the struggle of it too. And that one is That Funny Fat Guy, and it's me laying on a beach and acting like I'm a model. So go check it out.
Well, yeah. I just tapped the like on Facebook. I don't even get on Facebook all that much, but I pop on once in a while. Instagram is more the opposite for me. Like I'm big on there, and Facebook, I just got tired of looking at everybody's like 6-paragraph political essays.
Yeah. Oh, bro. Tell me about it. Yeah. I know. Yeah, that's why I'm trying to get more into Instagram. So like, I definitely want to get into that Instagram game.
Oh, we're gonna definitely get some people your way on that. And like I said, you talk to my man, Daryl, at Your Level Fitness. Tell him I sent you. He'll completely understand, and we'll definitely get you connected with some great people. And actually, I would recommend this if you're down. I can't imagine it's too far from Chicago. Cincinnati next year, we're doing a big meetup. We did one this year for this Flying Pig Marathon. Now, we didn't run the marathon. We did a 10K. Some people did a 5K. So a couple people did a couple of the races, but we're all getting together for that particular event next year. I can actually say this now because by the time this show airs, it'll already be made official, but I was selected by the Flying Pig to become an official brand ambassador. So I'm definitely trying to get the word out as much as I can, because last year we had a bunch of people from all over the country that came out, and we had one big like Instagram fit fam, like meetup kind of thing. And we already have like probably double the people that we had last year that are interested, that have RSVP'd for this year. So dude, if you're free the first weekend of May, we'd love to have you out there for the Flying Pig. Man,
it's a marathon.
Well, they have a marathon. I personally will be running the 5 and 10K. They have a 5, 10, a half, and a full marathon.
Okay. So 100% honest, I've never liked running. I hate it.
Me too.
Even in PE.
Yeah.
But this sounds like a challenge, and I'm always up for that. And that would be a goal to get there. So you know what? Sign me up.
Sweet. Yeah, do that. I'll send you the details. I have a Facebook event invite that I'll DM to you that it's basically where we're kind of corralling everybody there, because even if you click interested as opposed to going, like you'll get all the updates, in other words, and so you'll be on, up to date on everything that's going on. But yeah, we're going to be meeting up, we're going to be getting together for dinner, for group pictures, and it's a great chance to network with the people that I have a very good feeling that you're going to be engaging with here in the coming weeks as your podcast becomes available.
Awesome, man. This sounds fantastic.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we'd definitely love to see you there. And of course, I'll see you in October.
Yeah, I'll be there, man. Me and a couple of my buddies.
That's insane, man. Now, are you coming in just for that show and you're leaving the same day, or how long are you going to be here for?
I'm probably going to be there just like that day and the next day, just to hang out a little bit. I'm guessing.
Oh, man. I wish it was closer to the weekend, because I know a good karaoke place.
Well, that's the thing. We're probably going to leave that Saturday. So I'm probably going to be there for like 3-4 days.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If it's Friday, I know a good karaoke place. And it's a little bit farther from DC, but where are you staying at? DC, Virginia, Maryland, yet?
I'm not sure. We haven't booked our hotel yet.
Okay.
We're probably going to do that like this week.
All right, fair enough. Well, I'll put it to you this way. There's a good karaoke place. I know it's kind of far from everything, but I mean, I can get you there and get you back. That's not a problem. So if you're down, if you're available, I'll take you out to karaoke and we'll go sing our hearts out.
I love it, man. We're going to duet some NSYNC and Backstreet Boys.
Hell yeah, man. Maybe we'll do like a duet. Like, you take one certain guy, I'll take the other guy. And
you have to. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, Jefferson, this has been an absolute blast, man. You wouldn't believe it. We made it 90 minutes. It's just crazy.
Hey, man, this has been all my pleasure. Thank you for letting me come on here and just, giving other people, some people another perspective of, the fat men. So I hope people get value from it, and you're the man, dude. We're best friends now, so I love you.
I love you too, man. The pleasure is all mine. I'm taking that right back. The pleasure is all mine. I enjoy this and hearing it unravel from, I did some radio and TV and podcasts, and I like wrestling and NSYNC. I'm like, man, we're best friends now. So sorry, Daryl.
Yeah, Daryl.
You're being replaced, pal. No. So no, man, I definitely appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you.
All right, buddy.
Remember at the beginning of the show, I mentioned a little thing called Patreon? Well, I'd love to have you join me. But Gary, what is Patreon? It's a website that is helping small creators like me raise funds to further expand their creative visions. For as low as $1 a month, you can help me further my dream of reaching as many people as possible and eventually taking the show on the road to meet all these fine people face to face and add a video element to this podcast. If you were to donate $4 a month, you'd be hearing this show a few days earlier with no commercials and getting access to my close friends group on Instagram. Donate $10 a month and you get all that plus your name right at the beginning of the show alongside other producers, but act fast. That tier is limited to 10 people. I've I've got a whole lot more to offer, and you can get all the details over at patreon.com/Gary Cantrell. If you made it this far, I really appreciate you. Thanks so much for checking out the show, and I'll talk to you again really soon. HardWorkAlwaysWins.com. It's more than just a clothing line. It's my mantra. I speak it, I wear it, I live it, and I'd love to have you join the Hard Work Squad. We're constantly adding new items to the store, including our brand new Future-ish hats, which come in a variety of colors, including camo. I mean, who doesn't like camo? We also just put our famous Splash logo in gold to match our OG logo, and there's so much more here. You just got to check it out. Here's the best part. Use the code PODCAST at checkout to take 10% off of your very first order and join the Hard Work Squad today.